What if the software update your BYD downloaded silently last night actually made your battery worse? Not in a way that triggers a warning light, not in a way your dealer will immediately recognize, but in a way that shows up gradually. A charge that used to hit 420 kilometers now reads 380. A DC fast charge session that used to peak at 88 kilowatts now struggles past 60. A battery that charged to 100% 2 years ago now feels like it tops out somewhere beneath that every single time. BYD's over-the-air update system pushes changes directly into your vehicle's battery management system, the software layer that controls every charging parameter, thermal threshold, and state of health estimate your car uses. For newer models, those updates make the battery perform better. For owners of 2022 and 2023, BYD models, specifically the early Atto 3, the first-generation Seal, and the Dolphin, the picture is considerably more complicated. Today, we are going to break down 3 ways BYD's OTA update system can silently degrade your older model's battery performance, and exactly what you need to check before the next update lands on your car. Before we begin, if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more content like this. Now, let's get into it. Problem number 3. Your older DiLink hardware cannot fully apply the updates it is receiving. This is the problem BYD has not publicly addressed, and it is the one that sets up everything that follows. The early BYD Atto 3, the 2022 Dolphin, and the first-generation Seal all run on older DiLink 3.0 infotainment hardware. That hardware connects to the vehicle's broader software architecture, including the battery management system. BYD's newer models, the 2024 and 2025 Atto 3, the updated Seal, the Seal 7 run on upgraded hardware that handles the current generation of BMS parameter updates cleanly. The older hardware does not. Drive Authority, in its detailed January 2026 analysis of BYD reliability at 5 years based on Norwegian Tang owner data and Chinese Han EV community data, made a specific finding that has not received nearly enough coverage. BYD has not committed to OTA support timelines for 5-year-old DiLink 3.0 units. That is not a rumor from an owner forum. That is a documented gap in BYD's published product commitment. When a manufacturer cannot confirm how long a hardware generation will receive active OTA support, it means one of 2 things is already happening. Updates are being scaled back silently for that hardware tier, or updates are being pushed in a form the hardware cannot fully execute. Either outcome affects the battery management system parameters on your car. The Italian automotive workshop network Auto Ricambi Tritella, drawing on real diagnostic data from BYD dealers across 2024 and 2025, confirmed in its August 2025 reporting that BYD OTA updates sometimes include energy and climate optimizations and bug fixes that may impact battery life, and explicitly recommend monitoring for 1 to 2 charging cycles after any OTA completes. That recommendation does not exist if every update universally improves every vehicle. It exists because on older hardware, BMS parameter changes do not always land the way they were designed. If you own a 2022 or early 2023 BYD, check your current DiLink firmware version under Settings, System, Version. If it has not received a confirmed OTA update in the past 90 days, call your dealer and ask specifically whether your hardware generation is still receiving the full BMS update package. Do not assume that because the update notification appeared, the BMS component of it actually installed correctly. Problem number 2. A failed or partially installed OTA update corrupts your charging behavior. This is the active damage mechanism, and it is the one most likely to be affecting your car right now without you knowing. A failed or partially installed BYD OTA update does not always display an error. In many documented cases, the car reports the update as complete. The version number changes, and the vehicle behaves normally for weeks. What does not return to normal is the charging curve. BYD's official Seal and Atto 3 OTA installation guidelines, published in April 2026, explicitly state that driving mid-update can corrupt the software and that the vehicle must not be charged or discharged during the update process. A failed update in the BMS module specifically, which controls the charging curve, the thermal management thresholds, And the state of charge estimation can leave the car operating on a hybrid of the old parameter set and fragments of the new one. The result is not a warning light or an error code in most cases. The result is a charging session that peaks lower than it used to, a range estimate that consistently reads several percent below what the battery's actual physical state warrants, or a thermal management system that applies conservative temperature limits based on parameters that do not match the car's real operating state. Before we move on to the final problem, if you are finding this useful, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps YouTube push this to more BYD owners who need to hear this before the next OTA lands on their car. The broader EV industry has documented this mechanism before. In 2019, the United States National Highway Traffic Safety Administration opened an investigation cataloged as DP 19005 into Tesla's Battery Management System OTA update on 2012 to 2016 model S vehicles, after 59 owners reported measurable loss of available charging capacity and range. Following a firmware update, Tesla confirmed a voltage limiting algorithm had been installed via OTA. The NHTSA investigation found Tesla's stated rationale was thermal protection of aged cells. The real-world effect was documented range reduction. BYD's situation is structurally different. The updates are not designed to limit capacity deliberately, but the mechanism by which an incompletely installed BMS parameter change produces the same observable outcome is identical. An owner of a 2022 BYD Atto 3 participating in the Clean Energy Reviews Forum in Australia reported in late 2024 that following a BMS-inclusive OTA, their DC fast charging session consistently failed to climb above 62 kilowatts, down from the model's documented 88 kilowatt peak, and remained at that reduced ceiling until a dealer performed a forced full reflash of the BMS module via a diagnostic cable. The car had displayed no error codes. The update had reported as successful. If your BYD's peak DC charging speed has declined from what it was at delivery, and you have received at least one BMS-inclusive OTA update since purchasing, request a wired diagnostic from your dealer before assuming the decline is natural battery degradation. A corrupted charging parameter set looks identical to genuine cell aging from the outside. Only a diagnostic readout can distinguish them. Problem number 1. BMS parameters written for new cells push your aged battery past safe thresholds. This is the most important problem, and the one the industry is least equipped to talk about clearly, because it sits at the intersection of something BYD is genuinely trying to do right and an outcome that affects older owners in a way nobody is directly acknowledging. BYD's OTA-delivered BMS updates are designed to optimize charging performance across the fleet. That optimization is calibrated for cells at or near the performance characteristics they have when they leave the factory. A new Blade battery cell at full health can handle an aggressive charging curve, high peak kilowatts, wide thermal operating window, charging to 100% without stress because its internal resistance is low, its ion channels are intact, and its capacity buffer provides margin. As confirmed by the BYD Accessory Store's April 2026 OTA documentation. BMS updates include charging curve profiles for faster DC sessions and battery thermal management for hot climates. Those are parameter sets optimized for healthy, high-capacity cells. A 2022 BYD Atto 3 or first-generation seal that has accumulated 60,000 to 100,000 kilometers is operating with a Blade battery that has experienced natural cell aging. Drive Authority's January 2026 analysis of real-world BYD ownership data found that the Blade battery shows approximately 8 to 12% degradation at 100,000 kilometers or more. Still impressive relative to first-generation Nissan Leaf degradation curves, but a meaningful change in the cell's internal characteristics. An aged cell has higher internal resistance, reduced ion mobility, and less thermal margin than a new cell. When a BMS charging curve designed for full health cells is applied to an aged cell via an OTA parameter push, the aggressive charging profile pushes the cell harder than its current state can comfortably handle. The result, documented across lithium iron phosphate battery aging research, is accelerated incremental degradation, not dramatic failure, but a measurable acceleration of the capacity decline that would have occurred naturally over a longer period. The BYD Chin Plus DMI recall filed with China's State Administration for Market Regulation in late 2025 is the clearest evidence that BYD itself recognizes BMS software parameters have direct consequences for battery health. As reported by Bloomberg and confirmed by Car News China in October 2025, the recall covered 88,981 Chin Plus DMI sedans, built between January 2021 and September 2023, after regulators found that incorrect BMS parameter behavior could lead to reduced power output or prevent the vehicles from operating in full electric mode. The fix was an OTA update that adjusted the motor controller discharge method. The underlying cause was a BMS parameter set that was not matched to the actual cell behavior of the affected batch. That is not a fringe scenario. That is BYD's own largest ever software recall, and it describes precisely the mechanism this video has been documenting. Before any BMS-inclusive OTA updates on your 2022 or 2023 BYD, demand that your dealer pull a full state of health readout from your battery pack and log it on file. After the update completes, run 2 full charging cycles and compare your peak charging speed and usable capacity against the pre-update baseline. If your peak DC speed has declined or your full charge range reads consistently lower than before the update, return to the dealer immediately with the before and after data and request a BMS module diagnostic. The gap between your pre-update baseline and your post-update readings is the number that determines whether your car received a beneficial update or a parameter set your aged cells were never designed to handle. BYD's OTA system is genuinely one of the most ambitious vehicle software platforms in the industry. On newer models, with current hardware and healthy batteries, it delivers real performance improvements after purchase. But the system's reach into battery management system parameters, charging curves, thermal thresholds, state of charge estimation means that older models with aging cells and hardware that BYD has not committed to supporting indefinitely are not receiving the same benefit. For owners of 2022 and 2023 BYD models, the 3 risks are clear. Older DiLink hardware cannot fully apply current BMS updates. Failed installs corrupt charging behavior without triggering warnings, and new cell parameter sets push aged batteries harder than their current state can sustain. Check your firmware version. Log your charging baseline. Demand a pre-update and post-update state of health readout. The Blade battery is excellent engineering. The software layer on top of it deserves the same scrutiny. Hope you like this video. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for more informative electric vehicle content. Thank you for watching.